Good day to you all, and welcome to another episode of Habits for Health. Today, we're going to discuss different supplements that can help you recover quicker. And we got some different interesting formulations that you might or might not have heard about before that Wouter has actually been designing himself. And this might be something interesting for you to discover how you can actually take your recovery to the next level. And we also got some things that you might already know, but sometimes the basics are really important as well to go through. So let's just dive into it.
All right. Thank you for the introduction of the video, Andreas. So I designed two products specifically to activate AMPK. And before I dive into the details of this, just let me say that none of this is medical advice, and we're discussing some effects found in research experiments that may not necessarily carry over to you as an individual. So if you're sick, go and seek help from your doctor. And if you want to do something about anti-aging, stick around and maybe you can use some of this information for yourself. So I use a bunch of polyphenols to activate AMPK on my recovery days. And I specifically made two products to do this. One that is more aimed towards heart health and one that is more aimed towards joint health, but they're not limited just to those two effects in those areas. So let me start with my first product that I actually developed, which is Strong Heart. So this is an AMPK activator, which facilitates higher NAD plus levels, and they're also anti-inflammatory. The polyphenols that I use in this product are all well researched for their benefits for their effects on heart health or their reduction in symptoms in heart conditions and so on. Polyphenols used in this product are resveratrol, pterostilbene, quercetin, and grapeseed extract. And all of these compounds, what these compounds have in common is that they can all be found in grapes and in some other foods. And many of these compounds. Sorry, what's that?
No, sorry. It's just,
okay.
Yeah, mistake.
Okay, so yeah, many of these compounds are being researched for their effects on heart health, but also on cognitive health and some other functions that they may have. Researching these conditions in particular is very important because there's such a huge burden on society. Heart disease, or I think they're definitely in the Netherlands. They're the number one cause of deaths. So it looks like if you would reduce your risk of getting these compounds through what we're finding in research, you might be able to reduce your risk of getting these diseases. Might. So yeah, another thing they have in common is that they're all strong anti-inflammatory compounds. And another thing that they have in common is that they all work synergistically. So you'll see that if you combine these ingredients, they become more effective. They tend to last longer, so their half-life is increased and their bioavailability is increased. So more of it ends up in the bloodstream, and it's effective for a longer period of time. And you can check this out on Google Scholar yourself, and you'll find that these compounds have often been researched in combination. So let's dive into these polyphenols one by one. Resveratrol is mainly known for improving blood flow, and it may also improve insulin sensitivity, and it may also have a positive effect on hormones. It's being thoroughly researched on its effects on cardiovascular health are being thoroughly researched. Like it has a positive effect on laminar flow, so blood flow, and these effects are somewhat similar to the effects that you would find from doing cardio exercises. Resveratrol has also been shown to extend lifespan in yeast. It may also have this effect in other animals, but we're not sure yet. Maybe in humans, we just don't really know yet. It's difficult to really find out. because you cannot really make a clinical trial with humans and give them resveratrol, give one placebo, and see how that increases their lifespans. Just takes too long, and it's a bit unethical to do something like that. So the next polyphenol I want to talk about is grapeseed extract. This may also reduce blood pressure, may also improve blood flow, and may also have positive effects on hormonal levels and cholesterol. It's mainly added in this formula to improve the efficacy of the other compounds, but it's an interesting compound by itself. Then there's quercetin, which may also have a positive effect on cholesterol, and this compound is mainly it becomes more effective when it's combined with all of other polyphenols. So it's not really that profound. It doesn't really have such a profound effect on its own. And then there's
So you mean that quercetin is not that great in itself, but combined with other things, it is great.
yeah. So that mainly is because of the bioavailability of quercetin, and then it has some synergistic effects with some of these other polyphenols like resveratrol and pterostilbene, because it's like apigenin, it's a CD38 inhibitor, which CD38 is an NAD consuming compound. So if you would add this to resveratrol, there is less competition for NAD plus.
Yeah, so like I would actually say that quercetin is actually an amazing compound, and that it could be used for a lot of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, the bioavailability is really important with any compound. It's also why you do see differing results on all these different antioxidants and polyphenols, because you have studies where they don't basically optimize the bioavailability of those. And if they don't do that, then they won't get these beneficial results that you otherwise would get. That's really important with any compound you consume. It's the same with, say, if you take vitamin D as a supplement, if you don't consume it with any fat, you hardly absorb any of it. So, as well as you also talked in a previous podcast about the other beneficial nutrients like vitamin K, vitamin A, magnesium, to increase absorption of it as well, and the stability in the body of it as well. So the bioavailability of each compound, it's based on a lot of factors, and it's really important to recognize which things go into this, because otherwise you won't get the result that you actually seek and want. So
Mm-hmm.
quercetin, I I love it as a compound. It's actually one of my favorite supplements out there at all. First of all, it's really cheap. Second of all, it does provide so many benefits. So one thing is that it's actually an amazing antihistamine. So for people with
Mm-hmm.
allergies, it can be really powerful, especially if you take it prior to a period where you're gonna experience allergy symptoms. So prior to, say, a pollen, like pollen getting out in the air and all that,
Mm-hmm.
or if you expect to eat something that you might not really tolerate that well, it can help with that. And also for me personally, I actually also used it. So I have a, I guess, minor to moderate cat allergy, and I was actually using it to actually decrease my symptoms, and it helped a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's just one thing, but overall on the immune system, it's really powerful. There's also been studies on COVID where it helped significantly reduce symptoms of taking quercetin.
Huh.
And a combination of vitamin C and quercetin is extremely powerful to actually reduce symptoms of different viruses like COVID. So those are some quite interesting things, as well as the fact that it's actually also really powerful in increasing insulin sensitivity. So basically making your body able to produce insulin more effectively as well.
Mm-hmm.
So taking that, say, with something that might increase your glucose disposal in the body. So if you consume a lot of carbs and protein, then actually taking quercetin, where they can actually help reduce that need of insulin, which is also quite powerful. So I've used that a lot to actually help with that as well. So it's a really amazing thing and compound, and you can use it for so many things. So in itself, I would say it's really powerful, and the combination, it's even better, because getting these synergistic benefits and effect is
Mhm.
really where you really get this huge increase in AMPK and recovery, which you really want to aim for if you're shooting for that in a specific day. So I'm a huge fan of quercetin, and I think this is something that we'll probably learn more about. And you can actually even get something in red onion as well as capers in pretty high
Mhm.
amounts, actually, especially capers. Um, so you can get some from food, but getting optimal dosages is of course is difficult from food still. But even just consuming like some of these foods, say red onion as well as capers on a regular basis, can actually make a difference. As well as taking a supplement if you really wanna get all the benefits, but getting even some from those fruits, consuming loads of those can also help.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Interesting that you specifically used quercetin as an antihistamine. That's great. What
Yeah.
did you do to increase the bioavailability of quercetin?
So like I basically always focused on taking it with fat, which is one thing that really helps a lot.
Mhm.
And also I also tended to take it with other flavonoids as well, which can
Mhm.
also help. So they're from different citrus fruits specifically as well, and also something like bromelain from which you can actually get from pineapple can also help with
Mhm.
absorbability. Those
Yeah,
kinds of things I was taking with it. So yeah, it was really great. Like I was
yeah.
when I was really experiencing really severe symptoms, I was taking 500 milligrams, say 4 to 6 times per day. So that means about 2 to 3 grams per day,
Wow.
and it helped a lot because I was actually struggling a lot with those allergy symptoms because I had I actually had 4 cats. I actually had six, but two died. Two kittens died, unfortunately. But then I had 4 cats for a long time, and that was that was difficult for my immune system. So this was a really key factor in actually helping me deal with this.
Yeah. Actually, I'll send you one of the bottles of the new formula of Strong Heart so that you can test it out, and you'll find that you'll need a lower dosage to get the effects of it. That'd be interesting to see.
Nice.
You
Sounds
also
great.
mentioned that there was some research on quercetin and COVID. Was that a clinical trial? What kind of a trial was that?
Yeah. Like I think so. I can't really recall the study exactly,
Hmm.
but actually I think actually been made several studies on it, and it was actually kind of so there were some, say, holistic doctors doing COVID. They were trying other things and it's only doing the vaccine, which clearly didn't really work well. And they like their primary tools were basically vitamin D, vitamin C, and quercetin to actually help people. There are a few other things as well, also some
Hmm.
pharmaceuticals that also helped. But in terms of natural compounds, they're actually the primary ones that people actually aim for, doctors actually aim for. And they saw these like really huge benefits. And
Yeah.
like I remember different studies of seeing like 60 and 80% reduction in symptoms by taking some of these compounds. So this is quite powerful.
Yeah, yeah. Resveratrol and pterostilbene have also been researched in their anti-viral effect in COVID, actually. But these studies were done in vitro. So, yeah, it's difficult to say what it would do in the human body. It's
Mm.
pretty suggestive. Also, pretty interesting fact. This was done in the Netherlands, which I kind of like. I,
Yeah, I
I I
get
talked to I
that.
talked to the researcher on LinkedIn. It's not nice to
Oh,
spar about these subjects.
nice. Yeah, you should like do an interview with him or something to share
That would
more
be
knowledge. That
amazing.
would be great. Yeah,
That would be
you should
amazing.
ask him. That would be good.
Yeah, I should. I should. I'm actually quite thankful for him because he mentioned resveratrol in a television program in the Netherlands, and it spiked my sales for a weekend, which was really
Nice.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, you should definitely reach out. That would be great.
yeah. Um, all right, so back to the formula of strong heart. The last compound I wanted to talk about, or not the last one actually. Another one I want to talk about is pterostilbene. Pterostilbene is pretty much it has a lot of similarities with resveratrol, and it's only slightly different in terms of their in terms of their structure. The difference, however, is that it has a way higher bioavailability and a longer half-life than resveratrol. And if you take these synergistically, if you take these together with resveratrol, then the effects become stronger for both compounds. So this is why you want to take them together. And now, something that I don't have in my current formula, but what is being introduced in the next formula is apigenin. So the reason I'm adding this is because it's a lot like quercetin and it also inhibits CD38. So it just seems like a really good compound to add to this formula to reduce, to inhibit CD38 even further and to optimize the other polyphenols and their AMPK activity even more.
Oh
So,
yeah, actually, that is one thing I wanted to mention as well. Quercetin is actually also a CD38 inhibitor as well.
yeah,
That also helps having have both of them and targeting from
yeah.
different angles as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you'll find that these compounds have also been studied together.
Hmm.
And so these are all the polyphenols that I put in this formula. And then, of course, I added some black pepper extract, piperine or bioperine, the patented version in this case, just a low dosage because that's all you need really. And then I added a NAD plus precursor, niacinamide. So by adding this precursor, you're giving the polyphenols the fuel that it needs to do their to deacetylatate the mitochondria, which would result in better ATP production in the mitochondria. So as you can see, there are a lot of compounds in this formula that some of them have a similar effect, and some of them have an effect that is different, but is still helping the other compounds.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's cool, and also, so also one thing that I was like thinking is also that so there's so much hype about say NR and NMN, but I actually don't really feel like those compounds are kind of worth the money because so there are some studies showing benefits and all that, but they're so expensive. And you have something like nicotinamide, niacinamide, even something like niacin that can actually increase NAD plus, and they're so much cheaper. And if you take enough, you can easily get the same benefits, it seems. So I honestly don't really see the point of buying these really expensive options, but you can get it from much cheaper options, which are also
mhm,
natural forms you can actually get from food. And NR and NMN, they're not in a natural state at all. So the question is also how does your body react to it completely? So getting it in a natural state that you actually get from food just seems a lot more safe, to be honest,
mhm,
and
yeah,
and just makes a lot of sense when it's so much cheaper as well. So I used to take NR in the past, but I really don't feel like it's worth it. And even if you need a lot of or a big increase in NAD plus, I would just take multiple dosages of say niacinamide, niacin, nicotinamide instead of taking the NR and NMN and just split it out throughout the day because they seem a lot safer and natural and cheaper. So that's just I feel like
yeah,
it's a good idea that you actually take these established forms instead of these really expensive ones that
yeah, yeah.
are a bit
There's
overhyped in my opinion.
definitely overhyped, and there's been way less research on these newer compounds than there has been on niacinamide. And we should also keep in mind that there are professors involved in both researching these compounds and selling these compounds, which is never a great idea. In the Netherlands, we wouldn't
Exactly.
really call those people scientists anymore. We would call them influencers.
Yeah. It's so true. Like it's so conflicting to see the biggest spokespersons for these compounds. They're selling so much of this stuff. Like they have such a huge bias. It really seems. So I feel
Yeah,
like you really have to be careful in trusting those and really do your own
yeah.
research and not just trust them just because they research and sell it because
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
dangerous.
I reached out to some of these. researchers or influencers, whatever you want to call them. And I was surprised by their lack of knowledge of some things, to be honest, which was a bit
That's awesome.
disappointing, very disappointing. Yeah.
That's awesome. Great work. I guess you asked some good questions then as well.
Yeah, yeah. I had some, I had some questions that I was better off answering myself than asking them. Anyway,
That's funny.
anyway, yeah. If I see you, if I ever see you, then I'll show you some of these conversations. They're quite funny. Anyway,
Yeah, that'd be great. Let's do
yeah.
that.
I'll move on to okay. I can tell about how I use this product. So the strong heart product, I would preferably use this one in the morning, and then I might take a cold bath like 45 minutes afterwards when it's kicked in, when the polyphenols are kicked in, so that I can get like an even bigger NAD plus boost in my system by combining both lifestyle factors and supplements.
Good idea.
Okay, so on to the other product that I marketed for joint health, which is called Smooth Move. Now this is a combination of Ayurvedic compounds. Ayurvedic medicine is the oldest medical system on our planet and finds its origin in India. So the compounds I'm using for this formula are curcumin, boswellia, ginger, and fenugreek seed extract. Now, all of these compounds have a synergistic effect, meaning that they improve each other's efficacy. And all of these compounds are being researched for their role in reducing inflammation in the joints in particular, and their application in reducing symptoms of disease like arthritis or rheumatoid arthritis. But the compounds in this formula are not just limited to improving joint health. So let's move on to the first compound that I want to talk about, which is curcumin. Curcumin seems promising for reducing pain and alleviating symptoms of depression also. So it's also being researched in neural health a lot. In fact, curcumin has also been shown to boost brain-derived neurotrophic factor, making it a potential candidate for reducing brain degradation. Hence, this compound is also being investigated for its role in reducing the progression of cognitive diseases like Alzheimer's disease. Other research has shown its possible effects on endothelial function, making it a possible candidate for protecting heart health. As you can see, it's a bit of a jack of all trades. Actually, I used to market this curcumin supplement towards brain health before, but combining it with boswellia just seemed too good for joint health to miss out. So onto boswellia. This compound is mostly researched for its effects on joint health, and it just so happens to work synergistically with curcumin, meaning you would need less of both in combination to make them effective. But I decided to use a high dosage of both of these compounds in this formula, because why not? They're potent and they're really safe. So why not make a really strong anti-inflammatory supplement with this? It's actually, besides being a research candidate for osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, it's also being investigated for its effect on inflammatory bowel disease. And there seem to be there's some evidence that it may be beneficial for that. And then on to ginger. Ginger is a lot like curcumin. It's also a root, and it's also being investigated for joint health, brain health, and cardiovascular function. It may actually improve blood sugar levels and cholesterol levels. And then I also added fenugreek seed extract to this supplement. Now, there have been some studies in reducing symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis in fenugreek seed extract, but it's also known for being good for reproductive health. It's been shown to have have a positive effect on testosterone, and it's also been shown to have a positive effect on milk production in mothers. And like these other compounds, it may also help control blood sugar levels. But the main reason it's in this formula is because fenugreek seed extract consists of mainly a compound called galactomannan, which is a soluble fiber which increases the permeability of the blood-brain barrier of the other compounds found in this formula. So this means that curcumin is more likely to have an effect on the brain than if it were taken on its own. So this means that these galactomannans actually help the other compounds exert their effects where needed. And of course, just like with Strong Heart, I added a low dose of piperine to increase the bioavailability of all of these compounds. Like Strong Heart, I'm taking this supplement on my days off from training, and I'll mostly take them with my last meal, but I might have one for breakfast or I might have several throughout the day. It just really depends on how much inflammation I'm dealing with. For example, I had 3 of these yesterday because I was dealing with a zit that I got from eating something that I'm just not supposed to eat.
That
What's that?
what did you eat?
Oh, I had baby formula because I ran out of milk.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And like, was it filled with a lot of bad ingredients or?
There's sunflower oil in baby formula. I
Oh,
have no clue what it's doing in there, but it's in there. Please, my sister, if you're listening to this, get your baby raw goat milk. She's not listening to this.
yeah, yeah. Like I actually was so I think if maybe a year and a half ago or something, I was looking for different products containing HMOs, and so they're also usually found in these baby food formulas. But these baby food formulas, like they're all terrible. There's so many bad things in it, and
Yeah.
indeed all these terrible oils as well. And they don't serve any babies at all. They are
Hmm.
not naturally produced in the milk or anything of the
No.
mothers. They have some really great fatty acids. They have a lot of saturated fats in their breast milk, which is what the babies need. They don't need all of these terrible omega sixes, etc.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is really unfortunate to see, and I couldn't buy any of it because it was so bad. So I had to buy pure HMO instead, which is the only thing you can actually get, which with no toxic ingredients and just what I wanted. But it's sad to see that all these babies getting all these terrible ingredients because
Yeah.
the first part of life that's
It's a
so
shame.
crucial in building the whole body, the immune system, the brain function, the heart function, everything in the body. So if you get a bad start in terms of food, it makes everything in life actually harder. It's possible to reverse probably most, if not all of it, but it's very difficult and takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of knowledge to do it. And it's much better and easier just to start right. The thing is also you can also limit growth, limit muscle growth, limit height, and allergies and all kinds of things can also just actually come up from basically eating a bad diet when you are a baby.
Mhm. Yeah.
So getting it right is really important. So this is also something that hopefully will be fixed, getting some better products for babies if they can't get breast milk, because this is so important for any new life on Earth and beyond.
Yeah. It is. It is. But yeah, these kinds of things are out of our control, I think.
Yeah.
As long as companies are making a lot of money on things that we don't need in our food, then
Mhm.
they will try and do that.
Yeah, I feel like it's changing, fortunately. I feel like more people are demanding better products, which is great to see, but it's
Hmm.
gonna take some time. But
Yeah.
if we keep this momentum going, people getting more interested, more passionate about actually great products, high quality products, then we
Yeah.
hopefully will see a reverse of this because right now it's all profits. It's everything that matters. That's why we see all these terrible oils in everything. No matter what you eat, pretty much
Hmm.
you just see these oils that is damaging
Yeah.
the body so
Yeah.
much.